Republican leaders over at the State House are now promising to override Governor Eric Holcomb's veto on a bill banning transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams in school. Governor Holcomb turned that bill down yesterday, saying it left too many questions unanswered and said there didn't seem to be a need for it. But some lawmakers seem to disagree. Tonight, our Rachel Krause looks into whether the transgender sports ban could hold up long-term if it becomes law.
This legislation is legislation in search of a problem. Just like Governor Holcomb said, there's no evidence to point to it being a problem.
Katie Blair with ACLU Indiana says they're ready to fight if Indiana lawmakers vote to override Governor Holcomb's veto, allowing a ban on trans girls in school sports to take effect. But when it comes to the law, what would happen in the courts isn't clear-cut.
There's no precedent that governs this situation yet.
IU law professor Steve Sanders says because transgender people have been historically discriminated against, courts often look more carefully at laws that could further marginalize that community. And while the Supreme Court hasn't addressed trans youth in sports, it has ruled transgender people cannot be discriminated against in their workplace based on sex, protecting them under the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So if the courts see Indiana's ban on trans girls in sports as discrimination based on sex, that could halt the bill quickly. But whether the measure holds up in court could come down to how it's challenged.
Are they going for a victory for one or two particular students, particular plaintiffs, or are they going for a larger victory in getting the law completely invalidated?
In recent years and in other states, transgender athletes have sued and won. But those victories were narrowly tailored. Blair says the ACLU of Indiana is ready to take up this battle in the courts, but hopes instead lawmakers simply let this fight fade away.
If lawmakers really wanted to support girls' sports, they'd be spending time, putting money towards girls' sports, lifting that up instead of trying to put this kind of bogus, nonsensical, unconstitutional legislation into place.
One of Governor Eric Holcomb's reasons for not signing this bill was the potential of opening up schools to lawsuits. And we're beginning to see legal battles brewing over transgender sports bans in other states. Iowa, Florida, Tennessee, and West Virginia are all caught up in ongoing lawsuits. Last year, the Biden administration issued an executive order directing federal agencies to recognize transgender students under Title IX. That protects against sex-based discrimination in education and activities. Today, we reached out to local leaders to see the potential impact of this bill on Indy's sports connections and tourism. Visit Indy told us they have not taken a position, but are watching what happens with this bill. We've got their complete response posted right now. It's on WTHR.com.